Good evening. Welcome to California Today. I'm David Zhang. Here is a preview of some of today's top stories. A 9/11 survivor recounts his experience during a memorial in Fresno County. He shares what he saw that day and what keeps him motivated to tell his story. California lawmakers approve a bill requiring judges to consider gender affirmation in custody cases. It's up to Governor Newsom to sign or veto. Kaiser is paying millions for alleged illegal dumping. The settlement comes after local DA offices conducted undercover dumpster inspections and found hazardous waste. A 9/11 survivor recounts his experience 22 years ago during the annual 9/11 memorial in Fresno County. He vividly describes his harrowing experience of being buried alive for 13 hours and the 3 words that motivated him to live to tell his story.
Clovis, California, one of the largest 9/11 memorials held outside of New York, commemorated those who lost their lives during the World Trade Center attack in 2001. One of the survivors is Will Jimeno, who came from a family of immigrants. He and his wife had just bought their first home about 20 minutes from New York City. They had a 4-year-old daughter, and his wife was 7 months pregnant with their second child. He was a rookie cop assigned to the Port Authority bus terminal at the time.
We had gone to Tower 2 to get more equipment, not knowing that Tower 2 had been in distress because from Midtown Manhattan to downtown when we responded, the second plane had hit. So we were still in the impression that Tower 1 was the only tower hit. We were making our way back from Tower 2 after getting equipment, and we were between both towers when a huge explosion happened. I turned around from where we were walking, and I could look into the lobby of 2, and I saw a fireball the size of my house. And I remember just standing there, not knowing what to do.
He followed his sergeant's orders and ran towards a freight elevator with him. They were buried in the rubble for 13 hours. Both survived, but it was extremely challenging.
During that course, a lot of bad things happened. We had fireballs fall into the hole. My fellow officer, Dominic Pizzulo, before he passed, pulled out his sidearm and shot toward the hole as a last-ditch effort to let somebody hear us. And that weapon cooked off. We had 15 rounds fly around us. And it was just a horrific, horrific evening. When I wanted to die, I wanted to give up. It was late in the evening. We had been crushed, lost teammates, been burnt, been shot at, was in extreme pain because I was crushed on my entire left side.
Jimeno, who is also Catholic, said what got him through were 3 words his parents taught him to always have: faith, hope, and love.
Faith in your religion. If you don't have a religion, have faith in yourself. Hope. Always have hope, no matter what situation you're in. And love. Love for yourself and love for others.
Getting out of the hole took hours and was extremely dangerous, but through multiple agencies' efforts, he was rescued.
But that night, when they pulled me out of the hole, was the first time I cried. I cried because when I asked where everything is, because I couldn't see the buildings, they said, "It's all gone, kid." We never knew the towers came down. And I felt like we failed. They took me to Bellevue Hospital. I cried again because it was close to midnight. And I asked, where is everybody? And they're like, "You're it." The loss of life on that day was extreme. And that's why we as Americans need to never forget.
A total of 37 Port Authority Police Department officers were lost that day, the worst single loss of police officers in U.S. law enforcement history. Jimeno later wrote 2 books about his experience. One teaches children not to give up, and the other about how to recover and live again after trauma.
Former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi has announced she will be running for re-election. Pelosi will be 86 years old at the conclusion of her current term.
Democratic Representative Nancy Pelosi announced last Friday that she will be running for re-election for a 21st term. The statement comes after Pelosi announced last year that she would be retiring from House Democrat leadership. On X, the social media platform, formerly known as Twitter, Pelosi posted, quote, "Now more than ever, our city needs us to advance San Francisco values and further our recovery. Our country needs America to show the world that our flag is still there, with liberty and justice for all. That is why I am running for re-election and respectfully ask for your vote." Pelosi has served in Congress since June 2, 1987, representing San Francisco. She was Speaker of the House twice, between 2007 and 2011 and between 2019 and 2023. Pelosi will be 86 years old at the end of her 20th term.
California State Assembly passed a bill that would require judges to consider parents' affirmation of a child's gender identity in custody cases. After being approved by the Assembly, the bill now heads for Governor Gavin Newsom's desk. NTD's Jason Blair has more.
California Assembly Bill 957 now waits for the governor's decision after passing State Assembly late last week. In custody cases, it would require a judge to consider whether or not a parent affirms the child's identified gender. The bill was authored by Assemblymember Lori Wilson and co-authored by Assemblymember Scott Wiener. After passing the state Senate 30-9 on September 6th, it went to the Assembly floor where it passed on Friday.
Because that is our duty as parents, to affirm our children.
But some lawmakers argued against the bill.
And what decades of studies have shown is that youth dealing with gender dysphoria, 65 to 95%, eventually identify with their biological sex when they get to adolescence.
Elon Musk responded on X after the bill passed, saying it is, quote, a wolf in sheep's clothing, and what it would actually mean is that if you disagree with the other parent about sterilizing your child, you lose custody. It passed with 57 ayes and 16 noes. The bill now heads to Governor Gavin Newsom to either sign or veto. Reporting from California, Jason Blair, NTD News.
A large crowd gathered outside of a public safety meeting with the Oakland City Mayor, acting police chief, and county DA. Frustrated residents are calling for a state of emergency declaration, more police presence, and even sending in National Guards to combat the rising crimes in the city. Oakland Mayor Sheng Dao and other city leaders joined the community members at a church in East Oakland to discuss rampant crimes in the city. During the Saturday event, hundreds of Oaklanders outside chanted and yelled, demanding Mayor Tao to come outside to address the number of people who were not allowed into the church, which had a capacity of only 80. Local residents say incidents like this add to their growing frustration.
It was not well planned. There are areas in venues in this area that they could have done it and had many more people come in.
I'm really outraged at how Oakland is now becoming the trash, the garbage, the crime, the unbelievable amounts of crime.
If we're waiting for politicians to stand behind and to make policy changes, we're going to be waiting a very long time.
Those who spoke said crime is out of control and urged the city leaders to declare a state of emergency. This can help the crime-stricken city secure funding and resources from state and federal government. But the mayor said that is not the answer to Oakland's crime problem.
And so calling for a state of emergency right now, when we are doing everything that this would allow for us to do too, I mean, let's just call it what it is. It's just political theater.
Instead, the mayor said her office has spent over $1 million on a citywide camera system to track criminals, added patrol officers, allocated $1 million for community safety ambassadors in the business district, and doubled non-emergency responders to allow police to solve crimes. A few years ago, city leaders celebrated what they called a historic vote to defund the police. In June 2021, Oakland City Council had voted to cut $17 million from its police force to other programs aimed to help prevent crime and address mental illness. Current Mayor Tao was a city council member back then and voted for the defunding program. But she later changed her stance, and Oakland PD budget has been up 19% since 2019. However, city data shows crime remains a growing problem. OPD's latest statistics reveal that from January to July of this year, robbery went up 22% compared to last year, carjacking up 9%, burglary 39%, vehicle theft up 49%.
We're not getting problems fixed, and the problems are getting worse. That's the scary part.
I don't see the police here. Maybe at this event today because we have elected officials showing up. But what about us citizens that pay taxes and go to work? Okay, what about that? We don't have protection.
Mayor Tao says she and her family have also been victims of violent crimes in Oakland, and she would also get a busy tone when calling 911 herself.
When especially systems change, it don't happen overnight.
Mayor Tao says she has only been in office for 8 months, and the public can hold her responsible next year if the crime numbers are not down. Kaiser has agreed to pay $49 million for alleged illegal dumping of hazardous and medical waste in unsecure dumpsters. The healthcare company says they will also take steps to prevent future unlawful disposals.
California Attorney General Rob Bonta and 6 district attorneys announced on September 8th that Kaiser has agreed to pay more than $49 million for alleged illegal dumping of hazardous and medical waste in unsecured dumpsters outside its hospitals. In addition to the money, Kaiser will be required to retain an independent third-party auditor and to take significant steps to prevent future unlawful disposals. Bonta said that the settlement is a result of DA offices conducting undercover inspections of dumpsters at 16 Kaiser facilities. They found hundreds of items, including aerosols, cleaners, electronic wastes, medical tubing with bodily fluids, as well as personal and medical data of over 7,700 patients. Kaiser released a statement Friday saying, quote, "We take this matter extremely seriously and have taken full responsibility to acknowledge and in cooperation with the California Attorney General and county district attorneys, correct our performance regarding landfill-bound trash where it may have fallen short of our standards." Kaiser says they developed a 3-step approach. It includes assessing and disposing waste in appropriate receptacles, observing disposal techniques, and providing training for every employee and physician on proper waste disposal processes.
We'll now take a short break, but here's a look at what we have for you when we come right back. Surfing dogs are back. Over 50 dogs competed to be crowned Best Surfer and Most Stylish. The Ninja Turtles are now immortalized. The Turtle Brothers honored with a handprint ceremony in Hollywood. 12 hidden pianos fill San Francisco's Botanical Garden with music. The outdoor concert hall treats listeners to an afternoon of tunes. Those stories and more coming up on California Today. Welcome back to California Today. I'm your host, David Zhang. One Southern California school district will pay millions to settle a new lawsuit involving a teacher who sexually abused her students. NTD's Christina Corona has more.
The Redlands Unified School District will pay $2.25 million to settle a lawsuit involving a teacher who became pregnant by one of at least 2 students she was accused of sexually abusing. According to the Southern California News Group, the settlement increases the total amount paid to $8.25 million to Laura Whitehurst's victims since her 2013 arrest. In August 2016, Redlands Unified paid $6 million to a former student who impregnated Whitehurst while she was his teacher. The victim alleged that Redlands Unified officials knew of his relationship with the teacher and failed to warn his family. Another former student, who was 14 at the time, filed the most recent lawsuit in 2021, alleging that he was victimized and sexually abused by Laura Whitehurst at Redlands High School during 2007 and 2008. Christine Stevens, a spokesperson for the Redlands Unified District, said Friday, the district is aware of the recent settlement, but refrained from providing any comments due to confidentiality agreements in place. In 2013, Whitehurst confessed to police that she had engaged in sexual activities with the youth on 10 to 15 occasions, both in her classroom and at her apartment. Whitehurst, a former English teacher and soccer coach, pleaded guilty to unlawful sex with 3 former students. She served 6 months in jail and registered as a sex offender. Christina Corona, NTD News, California.
Furry surfers in Southern California. Over 50 dogs show their surfing skills at Del Mar Dog Beach. The canines and their owners took part in the 18th Helen Woodward's Surf Dog Surf-a-Thon on Sunday, raising funds for orphaned pets at the center. Over 70 surfing dogs compete in 10-minute intervals before a panel of judges. They're judged based on the length of their ride, wave technique, and the enthusiasm and confidence. The Best in Surf winners were Sugar in first place, Delilah in second place, and Guinness in third place. Dogs also participated in a costume contest to determine which four-legged surfers was most stylish while catching the waves. Federal wildlife officials are offering a monetary reward to catch the person who fatally shot an endangered California condor. Here's more on the situation.
Federal wildlife officials announced a $5,000 reward to catch the person responsible for fatally shooting an endangered California condor in San Benito County. Anyone with information regarding the shooting is asked to contact the Services Office of Law Enforcement in Sacramento at 916-569-8478 or email Special Agent Victoria Van Duzer at victoria_Van_Duzer@fws.gov. That's VICTORIA_VANDUZER at fws.gov. The Migratory Bird Treaty Act carries maximum penalties for a criminal violation of the Endangered Species Act. It ranges from 6 months to 1 year in jail and fines up to $250,000. California condors are among the largest flying birds in the world. They were listed as endangered in 1967. Intense recovery and reintroduction efforts over the past 3 decades have brought the California condor population from 23 up to 400. Pinnacles National Park, located south of Hollister, is home to some of these wild condors.
The Ninja Turtles are the latest to be immortalized in Hollywood. The 4 brothers trained in ninjutsu who fight evil in New York City have been popular for over 30 years.
The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were honored with a handprint ceremony in Hollywood on September 7th. The ceremony was held in the forecourt of the TCL Chinese Theater on Los Angeles Hollywood Boulevard. There, Leonardo, Donatello, Raphael, and Michelangelo were greeted by screaming fans as they arrived for the ceremony, which also honored their co-creator, Kevin Eastman.
You know, the first word that comes to mind is humbling, to be honest. To have this kind of event happen at such a historical place and historical venue. When I first came to Hollywood, this is the first place I wanted to see. I was a huge fan of movies my whole life. All that passion and pop culture and, you know, everything that goes into them. So this is awesome, really, really awesome.
The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles were created in 1983 by Eastman and Peter Laird, both comic book artists. They became a global phenomenon that has spawned movies, comics, and video games. Their latest movie, Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, is out now.
Flower Piano is back for the 8th year, and it is transforming San Francisco Botanical Garden once again into the city's own alfresco concert hall, where everyone is invited to play and listen. NTD went to search for the 12 hidden pianos in the 55-acre garden. The idea of placing 12 pianos into the Golden Gate Park was first conceived in 2015 by Dean Mermel and his co-founder, Mauro Fortissimo, at the Sunset Piano Project.
Well, 12 is an amazing number. There's a 12-tone scale in music.
8 years later, Flower Piano has become much more organized and increased in popularity.
We love hosting Flower Piano. It's our most popular event of the year. We see 60,000 people over 5 days.
12 grand pianos are placed across the Botanical Garden, and visitors will find them in some of the most aesthetic, natural settings.
The music is beautiful, and the place is beautiful, and I want to come back next year.
Other than classical music, visitors can hear anything from the Beatles, Elton John, jazz, tango, flamenco to New Orleans. When there is no scheduled performance, anyone can hop on a piano and play their favorite tunes during open playtime. Some bring their instruments like violin, guitar, banjo, rumba to have a spontaneous duet on the spot.
From, 8 years old to 80 years old, and everyone is in great spirits, listening to amazing music. It's a beautiful, beautiful day to be in San Francisco.
It's more beautiful than Carnegie Hall. We had perfect weather today, nice party out there. It was jam-packed, bathrooms were clean. It's a total success.
The event runs till Tuesday, September 12th, and is free to everyone on that day. For garden hours, people can visit www.sfbg.org. You might notice a dramatic dimming of the sun in mid-October if you live in certain highly populated parts of North America or beyond. Special type of solar eclipse is set to take place.
The Americas will soon be treated to an annular solar eclipse. It's sometimes called a ring of fire and will be visible on October 14th across large sections of North, Central, and South America. While total eclipses blot out the entire sun and darken the sky, annular eclipses allow the sun to peek through, leaving a ring of light around the moon. This is because the moon will be slightly further away from the sun, appearing smaller in the sky, and blocking less of the sun as they cross paths. But regardless of the type, the number one rule for viewing eclipses is to wear protective eclipse glasses, specially designed for that purpose. Alternatively, there will be live streams such as the San Francisco Exploratorium's live stream, allowing for online viewing from home. This year's annular solar eclipse will start at 9:12 a.m. Pacific Time. The moon will begin crossing paths with the sun starting in the North Pacific. It hits the Oregon coast at 9:16 a.m. Pacific Time, before sweeping through 9 U.S. states: Oregon, California, Idaho, Nevada, Utah, Colorado, Arizona, New Mexico, and Texas. The eclipse's path reaches Texas Gulf Coast at 9:56 a.m. Pacific Time, or 11:56 a.m. Central Time. It'll then cross the Gulf of Mexico, bisecting the Yucatan Peninsula in Mexico and parts of Central America, then finally traversing Colombia and Brazil. The annular eclipse ends its journey in the South Atlantic at 12:46 p.m. Pacific Time, or 3:46 Eastern Time. For people viewing it in person, again, remember to wear your protective eclipse glasses.
That's all we've got for you tonight. We would like you to join us again on California Today every weekday at 8 p.m. Make sure to check out our broadcasts at ntd.com/California-today. You can also find all of our top latest clips there, ready to share with friends and family. Send us a message on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Ganjin World, or through our email california.today@ntd.com. I'm David Zhang. Have a wonderful evening.